All right guys, so welcome back to another spin versus fly video. So if you guys haven't watched my last video that I did, I think I might have filmed it at the end of December. It came out in January of this year. It was a spin versus fly video in which the fly rod absolutely railed the spinning rod, and it was kind of an expected result because I was chasing rainbow trout. And for those of you who don't know, rainbow trout are like notorious bug eaters. And even after the results kind of came out, or even after I posted the video, I was like, I don't know if that's a completely fair analysis of spin versus fly, because really the fly rod was almost built to go after, you know, rainbow trout or bug eating fish. So I decided to come out and do this again. And today I'm chasing brook trout rather than rainbow trout. And my reasoning behind this is that I know brook trout are very opportunistic, and I have a feeling that if I throw in these little spinners around for them, they are going to absolutely destroy them, and it'll probably work better than the fly rod is my guess. So this is gonna be like almost like a dry fly versus spinner video for little native brook trout up here in the mountains. So we'll see what happens. I have absolutely no idea what to expect, so let's do it. Oh, got one already. I don't even have my rod or anything. There we go. Whoa, chill out, buddy. So I'll just tell you guys just straight up. There's first native of the day on my spinner. I have a, not a treble hook on this spinner. So there's just a single hook there with the barb pinch. So these native brookies will not be hurt in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And he can swim away and live another day. Well, that didn't take long. Didn't take long at all. All right, guys, so literally the first hole I stopped at with a spinning rod, I caught a fish. This is another good looking hole here. So I'm gonna try to see if I can't catch one on the fly rod. I mean, I would think I would catch one here on a fly rod. Yep, got one. Oh, I missed him. I'll get another one to eat, I'm sure. Well, I missed or lost one. Let me go grab the spinning rod and see if one eats a spinner out of here. Oh, got him immediately. Well, I guess I'll net this one. Oops, maybe. There we go. Gosh, that's a fat brook trout too. Tell you one thing for sure, this is one massive point for the spinning rod. That's a healthy brook trout too. Good gracious, look at him. A true king. There he goes. That's for sure the fish I missed on the fly, or the fly rod in the first cast. But still, it's interesting because I cast in there with the fly rod a bunch more times. Couldn't get him to hit, couldn't get anything to happen. Throwing their spinner literally first cast and caught it immediately. But having said that, I'm not super surprised, because as I said at the beginning of this, these fish are like super opportunistic, and them seeing like a spinner or something come through the water, they're probably gonna hit the spinner. At least something will, usually. Oh, I just got hit again. Got one. That's two. And I casted my fly up in there as well. I might have to put a nymph on or something though. Might have to put a nymph on. We'll see. I'd rather not, but it's another healthy fish right there. Thanks, buddy. You gonna swim away? What's this fish doing? There he goes. What the heck? Oh my gosh. I didn't even see the fish eat because it ate right at the, it was underneath that tree right there. I was like, where'd my dry fly go? And I eventually just set the hook because I was like concerned. There you go, the fly rod got one back. Not a very big fish. That wasn't even a hole that I probably would have fished with the spinning rod. I mean, maybe, but it's really shallow, so it would have been tough because that spinner is gonna sink pretty quick in that little tiny hole. I was actually gonna work up to this hole here, but I hadn't made it yet. Oh, whoa, is that a fish? Oh, hello. Hey there, buddy. All right, guys, so I fished this hole with a spinning rod a little bit. Didn't catch anything, came out to the very head of it with the fly rod. Immediately caught a fish. Not a giant, but it's got another one on the board for the old fly rod. I'm having trouble seeing my flies today. I don't know if it's because the light's kind of getting low, or the flies are sinking. Like, I don't really know why, or I'm just blind. I think I need new like glasses or something. This is rough. Oh God, nice brook trout. No! Ah! That was like a 10-inch fish. He came out right up from the log where I thought he should and smoked the stinking spinner. Oh, that was a cool cast to make too. Like, it's a difficult cast to get that in there. Well, that kind of blows. That would have been fish of the day, probably. Would have been fish of the day. It's part of the thing with using like barbless hooks and stuff like that, is you end up losing fish. But having said that, these are little native fish. Like, you catch enough of them that you really don't need to be throwing like, oh, another fish. No, I lost another one. Just like the other one. What I was saying though is that it's really, like, it's just not that important. You know what I mean? Like, I catch enough of these fish, or you catch enough of these fish when you're out fishing for them, that if you lose a few fish, it's usually nothing to cry about. Well guys, we got like, looks like a caddis hatch coming off, and I'm throwing a caddis. This is when fly fishing is at its best. I'll probably catch a couple fish here, at least one. Or maybe not. That is seriously impressive. Are you kidding me? Are you joking? Well, guess I'm stuck on a limb that I couldn't see. Let's see if the spinner catches one in here. I made a few good casts, so I'm not like super upset about it. Oh God, dude, that was such a big brook trout. Wow. Daggone, dude. Oh man. Oh man. Maybe I need to start throwing like putting on a nymph or something, because I'd probably catch those fish if I had a nymph on. I don't know that for a fact, but oh, there's a fish. A dry fly brookie. A dry fly brookie. Relax, buddy. Not the biggest fish on earth, but not many of these fish are very big anyway, so. Wonder if we can catch one out of the spinning rod, with the spinning rod out of here. It's interesting because we actually do have a decent little hatch going off right now. So I would expect the fly rod to start killing here in a second. But I don't know. I mean, it's not like a runaway, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, I'm catching, you know, a good amount of fish on the spinning rod. And it's like catching fish behind the fly rod. But like, in my opinion, let's see if I catch one here real quick. Oh, there it is. But I was gonna say, in my opinion, the point of coming up and catching a lot of times these little brook trout in the mountains, although that's a really pretty fish too. Look at him. Thanks, buddy. But anyway, what I was gonna say before I get interrupted by that is that I think, honestly, when I come out here, just being out in the mountains and, you know, oh, another one. This one's a really small one. I figured there's more fish in there than what I caught in the dry fly. As I said, I should probably put a nymph onto my fly, but I just don't care enough. Which is kind of the point I've been trying to prove, but I keep getting interrupted by these fish. That's a particularly pretty one too. Is that usually when I come out here, I fly fish for these fish because I think that's what the epitome of like trout fishing in the eastern US is to a degree. It's fly fishing for these little native brookies. And usually when I come out here, these fish are not that difficult to catch. I mean, as you can see, I'm catching them on the fly rod and the spinning rod pretty easily. So like, in my opinion, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, I really struggle to catch fish, you know? So I'm gonna use my spinning rod to make sure that I catch fish today. That's not the case. You know what I mean? It's more like, you know, I'm out here hiking, having a good time in the mountains, and catching the fish is almost like a secondary thing to that. So for me, I would never, ever spin fish for native brook trout in the mountains because, it's, as I said, there's just no point. They're not that difficult to catch. I'm not like judging people that do it or anything. I just don't see a point to it. I just saw a dry fly eat. That's close. I need to be up a little bit higher. It's right at the edge of that rock up there. That's a good cast. There it is. Oh, nice fish too. Real nice brook trout. Really nice brook trout. Thanks, buddy. Oh, he's got me. Dude, he is fighting. What on earth? Would you get in the net? Golly. I mean, yes, you're a nice fish, but you're being ridiculous. Oh, another nice brookie on the old dry fly. Dude, look at him fight. That is incredible, man. He's got a little bit of orange to him. So, I'll tell you what's happening, guys. You guys haven't seen it, but I've been throwing the spinning rod too. And that's a beautiful brook trout. But what's happening right now is it's getting probably like 6, 7 o'clock right now. I'm starting to get a few hatches popping off. I think the fish are actually legitimately looking up. Rather than earlier when I was having all those fish hit, you know, the spinning rod, or hit the spinner, and not the dry fly. I think they were just not looking up yet. Now that they're looking up, the fishing's starting to go towards the old dry fly. The dry fly is getting more active. Which I think, at least on the fun scale, is a lot more fun to throw a dry fly and catch a fish than it is to throw the spinner. But I'll see if I catch one here on the spinner. I probably will, because I didn't even get all the way up to the top. But I also may not. And I'll fish the next hole with a spinner just to see. But I think that's what's starting to happen here. Huh, interesting. Ooh, nice fish. Sipped the dry fly. Actually, it's not that nice. Just the way it ate made me think it might be nice. That was cool. I fished a long stretch with the spinning rod, didn't catch anything. And I switched to the fly rod, and I caught one pretty quickly, but granted, this is a pretty good hole. Ooh, it's a nice brookie there. Haha. Finally caught another one on the spinning rod. Took me a minute, but I got it. I guess the only good news about a spinning rod is it's pretty easy to just chuck a long cast up there. That's a perfect looking brookie. But anyway, it's easy to chuck a long cast up into like a hole like this and just move long pieces of water. Thanks, buddy. I wonder if I catch a, let's see if I can catch a one on the fly out of the same hole. Just out of curiosity. I would assume I can. Assuming my fly actually floats. Oh, nice brook trout too. Oh, buddy, that's the biggest one of the day, I think, or close to it. Maybe not. God, he looked huge when he came up and ate it first. I think he's a little bit bigger than the one on the, well, he's about the same size as the one I just caught. Well, maybe a tad bit bigger than the one I caught on the spinning rod. Yeah, he's just a little bit bigger. Oh, did you relax, buddy? Here's old buddy I just caught on the old fly rod. He's up there at the biggest of the day. If he's not, no. I mean, really fat looking, colorful fish. I'm gonna go ahead and let him go. There he goes. Oh, he's hanging out with me. You guys see him? It's so cool. Ooh, is that a fish? I don't know if that was a fish doing that or not. God bless, what a fish. What a fish, man. Look at him. Wow, that eat was incredible. That eat was worth the price of admission. I don't know how well you guys could even see it or if you could see it. Holy cow. Talk about an incredible bite. Another good brook trout. I mean, that fish jumped out of the water for, I mean, went dang near airborne, it looked like. Look at the colors on him. The bars, like this creek in particular, like these par marks on these fish are like super distinct, which is kind of cool to see, honestly. But I guess I'll just let him go. Thanks, buddy. All right, guys, so I just caught that fish on a dry fly. But let's see if something eats it. Oh, something tried to eat it. It's still chasing it down. Got him. Oh my gosh. There's actually two more in there that would fall on this spinner. And this one's not quite as big as that one that sharked out of the water from my dry fly, but I'm sure that fish that ate the dry fly probably would have eaten this too. God, that's a gorgeous fish. Look at him. Ah, dude, the like par markings or whatever you want to call those markings on these fish are incredible. Back into the depths. That's cool. All right, guys, so I'm about to head out of here because it's getting late. It is currently 7:40. So I'm gonna start hiking out of here because I have a little bit of a hike out. What did I learn today? I learned that it's really cool to see the fact that like when there were no hatches going off, the dry fly or the fly rod was working, but not quite as good as what I would consider the spinning rod to be working. And then as soon as the hatches started popping off, I caught just as many fish on the fly rod, and I think the size went up on the fly rod and kind of down on the spinning rod, which is something that, you know, well, duh, like, of course, it's like common sense that would happen. But it's cool to like actually go out and like experience it firsthand, because it kind of got to a point where I was having trouble catching fish on the spinning rod, and it was easier to catch them on the fly rod. Whereas like at the very beginning of the day when I first started up in here, it was the opposite. I think it was a little bit easier to catch them on the spinning rod than it was the fly rod. So it's cool to see like that dynamic of like as it got later and as the hatches started popping off, the fish started eating the flies a lot more readily. But I guess for me, at least as far as native brook trout go, I don't really see a reason to be spin fishing for native brook trout, just because if anything, what I've proven today is that they're not that difficult to catch and they'll eat pretty much anything. They're very opportunistic. The hardest thing is finding these fish, but it's not that difficult to actually catch them. So what I would say is if you're new to fly fishing, or if you're thinking about getting into fly fishing, get a fly rod and come out and try to catch a native brook trout, because they're gonna hit probably just about anything. And yeah, it's gonna be difficult to cast in some scenarios, but what better way to learn than to go out and actually try to catch fish and get stuck a few times, sure, but you're at least gonna catch fish and see what it's like to see fish eat dry flies and stuff like that. Because that's something that like on your normal stocked river, or on your bigger, like more pressured wild trout streams, is gonna be difficult to accomplish. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Hardman Fishing Adventures.